What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name After Sound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys. I just wanted to record a video. I know I'm still getting caught up on a bunch of things here, but I just wanted to say that SPS is down to 0.008. We are down 20% from the penny that we were holding for a while, and I'm not worried. Now, I'm gonna address the people who are gonna come through and say that this is cope right off the get-go and say, yeah, to a certain extent, you're right. But I'm not just talking about Splinterlands. Like when I'm looking at the entire market, this is something that is affecting the entire altcoin market, and that's going to be the basis of my argument here. So as you can see, we'll look across the top here. Bitcoin dropped down to 103. In fact, I think it was like in the 102 range earlier. ETH is down in the 2300 range, right? You're seeing negative and down across all of the other altcoins. Another of my favorite projects out there, Parallel, the Prime token, is down at around $2. I'm worried it's going to go below $2, which would be just devastating. But there is no project out there in the ecosystem that is really, truly thriving right now. At least I haven't come across any, and I know I'm not paying attention to everything, but there is not anything that's out there and just absolutely killing it. Now, when you look at the fundamentals around what is going on with Splinterlands, this is where I remain bullish and why I'm not worried. It's because we just had the team come on and do their monthly town hall. They're talking about all the other things that they're going to be trying to do to get new players into the game and really build out not the conversion metrics, but the things that will improve the conversion metrics, right? Improving guilds, improving the onboarding experience, right? Making it easy for people to understand, putting in quests and achievements, and just really making it a more holistic and more, how do I put this? Just all around good experience when it comes to a game, right? There's going to be something that you can take, or however you want to interact with the game. You can come in, you can play it casually, right, with a kind of like free-to-play version, which is something that has been missing for a while. You can do stuff with land now that was not really there before. It's only come in this year. Obviously, there's survival mode, there's wild format, there's modern format, and there's going to be the basic foundation format at some point in the future. So there's going to be all different things that people can really engage with the ecosystem with. And obviously, as Dave has talked about this in the past, this game has primarily been like a premium experience. You needed to spend a lot of money to be able to experience the game at the highest and best levels. Whereas now, if you just want to be able to participate and just play the game, you can do that, right? For free, 100% for free. You can just come in and level up your cards. You can come in and participate in the Guild Scholar things, right? Or participate in Ghost Card tournaments, Ghost Card challenges, and things like that. So it's going to be a game in which I think people will just be able to interact however they want, including those who either don't want to spend a lot or cannot spend a lot. And to me, that is going to be something that is really crucial. So in terms of looking at what the team has coming through, and I covered this in the 5 biggest takeaways from the town hall already, so I'm not going to rehash that. But in looking at, the fact that the team just got this infusion of cash from a lot of support from the community, over 1,000 people that participated in the pre-sale and have bought packs so far, things like $3 million in sales. They're getting back to work, right? So the token prices are down, except for vouchers. Let's go vouchers. That thing just keeps shooting up. But token prices are down. We are in this lull period, as I made a video the other day. But DEC is still hanging in there. SPS, and here's why I'm not as worried about SPS. Of course, I would prefer an 80-cent SPS. I would prefer a $1 SPS, right? Or even a 10-cent SPS, gosh. But at this point, right, I just don't think that we're going to get that until the market starts to turn. We've seen now twice that the flywheel gets activated whenever we have a new set. And Conclave Arcana was not small, right? The pre-sale brought in a ton of capital, $2.4 million. And that was not enough, which just goes to show that there's way too much SPS out there. Still, that there's way too much SPS. And I'm going to do a separate video on that in the near future. But as we take a look at it now, right, 231 million SPS burned, but there's like 1.4 billion in circulation, and we're still just giving it out like candy every single day. Obviously, there's going to be the LP rewards that get turned off. We're going to be switching things around, and hopefully over time, with SPS being lower, I always say this as a silver lining, with SPS being lower, we can potentially burn more of it once the flywheel starts to get activated again. Now, we're still a little bit further away from that. You can see here that the team is holding about 369 million DEC. Again, if we can trust these metrics here, I know people have said that they might be a little spotty, especially with land never having moved from 1.485 billion. So, but the company one seems to move. So whatever that's tracking seems to be at least somewhat dynamic. So obviously the company's holding 369 million. They're getting an infusion of DEC anytime somebody goes and buys packs. So that's going to fluctuate. But over time, if they continue to push that out into the ecosystem and then need to go and buy DEC off the market, or, and this is where the flywheel gets activated, once DEC, if they continue to do that and push DEC back up closer to peg and then start buying SPS and burning it immediately, that is when we will see the magic happen of, more SPS getting burned per dollar at that point. But we burned almost 100 million SPS so far. And I think that just goes to show that the ecosystem is still inundated and flooded with way too much SPS. The good news is that, we've burned, what is this, over 6, 7, maybe close to 8% of all SPS at this point. We've slowed down the distribution on a lot, or even stopped the distribution for a bunch of other ones. So at this point, I'm looking at it and saying, okay, 972 million that is staked, 1.4 billion that's circulating. Obviously, a good amount of that is sitting in the DAO, right? There's 560 million sitting in the DAO. So I think that we're going to go through this lull period again, and really, we're going to have to wait until the rest of the altcoins and alt season starts to take off, because we cannot do it ourselves at this point without a major catalyst. And even with the biggest catalyst that we've had, which is the launch of Rebellion and Land 1.5, followed by the launch of Conclave Arcana and Land 1.75, we have not been able to really push the dial on that. We've burned a lot of SPS, which is something that we need to do. So all in all, we're making for hopefully a higher trajectory once we're able to get there. But at this point, I think we just got to be patient. Every project out there is struggling right now. So again, I'm not worried, because I see the team working hard to continue delivering experiences. People are enjoying the game, playing, enjoying the change in the meta. They're adding, different modes, different game modes. Conflicts are coming soon. So again, it's one of these things where, for people who have been in Splinterlands for a while now, and I would consider myself one of them, you just got to go with the flow. You just got to trust the process. And now I understand why so many OGs, they'll leave for a little while and then come back. And when I say leave, they'll just check out for a little while, right? They'll still be active in the ecosystem. They'll bot their account. They'll come back and do guilds and brawls and stuff like that. Or maybe they'll play tournaments. Or maybe they'll just be silent, right? They won't be talking as much on Discord. But when I see that happening, I understand it a little bit better now. And part of that was because of the fact that I took this time off over the last couple of weeks while I was on vacation. Because it's like, oh, okay, well, I left and I came back, and it's not that nothing changed. It's just we're continuing to churn forward, right? One foot in front of the other. The team is knocking things out left and right. I think they've done a fantastic job of that since the beginning of this year with the resources that they have. So at this point, I'm not worried about it, because so much of this depends on when Bitcoin goes nuclear, and of course, alt season potentially follows that. But no other project is thriving right now. No other project is absolutely killing it. And for those of you who do kind of study macro, it's not a great situation. I mean, the economy is not in the best of places. It has not been in the best of places for probably a significant amount of time, but it's not improving right now, right? In fact, there's a lot of uncertainty with geopolitical conflict, with the tariffs and economy, right? So there's a lot of stuff out there where people are just like, okay, if I'm looking for an easy buck, I'm going to try and spend it somewhere else, right? I'm going to try and do something else. Maybe that's online gambling, whatever the case is. But where we would see that happen in crypto was traditionally meme coins, and meme coins have been quiet for a long time. So my hope is that the meme coin mania is done, and that when people decide that they actually want to start engaging in something and not just throwing their money randomly, but willing to put money towards something, that's when they'll start exploring games, right? Or other projects or real world assets. But I really don't think that is going to happen until alt season actually starts, until Bitcoin starts to capture headlines again. And even though this thing has been over 100,000 since the beginning of the year, I mean, I know it's gone up and down, but even though we've been in that range for the last however many months, people retail just is not here yet. So, I would say that this is not financial advice of go in and, buy as much SPS right now. I have no idea what's going to happen to SPS in the long term, but I do have a lot of confidence that if the team continues to deliver, if we continue to get cool experiences and people spend money in the game, which we've seen now for 3 consecutive sets, right, and mini sets, of people that just enjoy playing the game for what it is and actually spending a good amount of capital to do so, if we continue to see that, we will continue burning all of this SPS. We will continue burning all this DEC, locking it up in the DAO, hopefully doing productive things with it for the ecosystem, and eventually get to a point where we start burning more SPS in terms of value, right? More SPS than is actually coming out, and that's when things get really exciting. So I've been calling for this for a while. Obviously, I've been wrong. I thought that things would push further and faster and sooner, but it just didn't happen. And now we're in a position where it's like, okay, we're still making progress. It's slow and steady, and the team's still working on stuff, and I love playing the game, so it is what it is. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.